Hi, Dr. Pelto here. This week, I want to go over a few cases from some patients of mine. And in this next episode of Healthy Living, I had a lot of good questions. So I invite you, if you have any questions, please ask them to me. Put them either underneath this video and I will answer them, or you can go right to some of the other videos, or there's a way at the end you can go to my website and ask a question. Okay, so this week we're going to be talking about a couple of things. This is a patient with gout, kind of before and after. Another patient that was concerned about their nail, and we have a kind of a solution for them, and a question about nail coming off. For those that don't know, I do speak Portuguese, and some of my videos are in Portuguese, and this is a patient that asked, "Hi, I'm 12 years old, and I suffer from an ingrown toenail more than a year. I go to a podiatrist and every week, and they can't help my problem. Do I have to do surgery? And then how long am I going to be without walking?" So this is a little 12-year-old that asked this question. And basically, I'm not sure if they do this procedure, but you would need a matrixectomy. It's where a portion of the nail is killed in the edge with a chemical. They probably do it. I think maybe a plastic surgeon might do that in Brazil. But a matrixectomy, normally we don't keep people off their feet. They go home. I recommend they stay off their feet that day, only because it could bleed a lot, and that's the only reason. But the next day you're up and at them, and things go well. Another question: if I have a family member who is a surgeon, can they remove my wart? This is another question from a patient. Well, if you have a friend that's a surgeon, not all surgery is the same. You don't want me doing your eye surgery or some other type of a surgery. But if they are a plastic surgeon, maybe they could remove your wart. But just be aware, it's probably best to see a specialist. That was an interesting question. My wart returned larger after it was removed. This is a big problem we see, and I see this in my office. Frankly, if we think we remove it and we don't go deep enough, or we don't get the edges well, then it tends to come back. I find recurrence is a big problem. You kind of have to go really, really deep. And to do that, it makes a lot of blood. So a lot of times I bring that either to an operatory room here in our office or at the hospital to do that. But warts tend to come back if they're removed. Very common, unless you go really, really deep. But if you go too deep, you're going to cause scarring. So that's kind of another issue with that. Can you remove my nail without anesthesia? An example of a nail coming off. If it's really loose, you can. Like if it's loose and lifted and dystrophic or kind of changed like that, you can remove it. But otherwise, I would recommend anesthesia. That was a good question. Another question: I have a rigid flat foot on both feet, and I have constant pain when I'm on my feet for a while. When my feet point down, I get severe pain. It's caused me to trip as well. Any recommendations? So flat feet can be caused because of the posterior tibial tendon. There is a couple of videos on posterior tibial tendinitis and rigid flat foot. If you have a rigid flat foot, you also have to be aware you might have some type of joint bone in the middle of the foot. So I would certainly recommend seeing a specialist to get x-rays, maybe even an MRI, to make sure you don't have a coalition or something, a connection in the bones there. But you should, the things to start there in the video, it explains kind of some inserts, foam rolling exercises if it's a calf problem. But if it's really pain inside, you should probably seek some help. This is a toe dangers of a cell phone. This is a self-portrait. So I was playing with my kids, and then I dropped my cell phone on my toe, and it got some blood underneath here on the base of the nail. This nail is going to stay attached. There's just a little blood at the base, but very commonly you see blood underneath the nail. I thought that was just kind of a funny. And I just have the best feet ever? I think that's what I think. I think that's why my wife married me, my feet. Actually, she said she married me because she was interested in me because she has all these ingrown toenails, and her toenails like curve upward. So I haven't helped her. You never do surgery on your wife. I had my partner do ingrown toenail surgery for her. Let's talk about this patient. Came in really kind of disgusted with the toenail. She has fungus in there. We are treating the fungus, but it's summertime now. So we put this Keriflex nail, which is basically a fake nail. It looks better. It could look better if I was a lot better at doing it, but I think she'll be pleased with it because she can paint it and it'll look much better than it did before of just painting this little stub. So this is a procedure we do in the office and wherever you're at. It's called Keriflex. Makes them look good for the summer. A couple of other cysts that I saw recently. This was a cyst at this joint right here, and there's another cyst right here. There are a lot of different treatments for cysts. These are pretty common. This one's going to affect the nail. But if you want some more information, there are some videos on cysts as well. I'll put a little link to that video underneath here, as well as the Keriflex. And this was kind of an interesting thing. This patient had a lesion right here at the base of the nail. So a fungal toenail with this flesh. It could just be some nail flesh growing, but I did take that and I biopsied it to make sure it wasn't anything else like a melanoma or something else. So I haven't got the results back yet. And then the last, this is kind of a cool case. This patient, this is how they originally came in, and this is how they are now. You can still see there's a little buildup. This is gout. Okay, we treated this ulcer for a long time. This patient, it's been almost a year, and it took a long, long time for this ulcer to close, for the redness to come down. He has been on different gout medications. There are some different videos you can watch about gout, but this is looked really bad, and now it looks really good. It just takes time. You can't really rush that. So if you have your own question, ask it at drpelto.com, and I hope you enjoyed this week's session. Okay, thanks.